Hello everyone. In this lecture of IoT, we will discuss the actuators. In the last two lecture, I have discussed various sensors, analog sensors and digital sensors. In this lecture, we will discuss the actuator. So, as sensors is to receive the information from the external um, environment, actuator is provide a medium to control the external environment. Basically, and a microcontroller gives some output. Want to control something, it gives some output signal to any of its pin, and that output operates some devices like motors, like LED, which act as a actuator. So actuator is generic term for a device that control external parameters. It takes source of data or energy, that is and convert the data and energy into a motion to control a system. Examples are motors, valves, switches, and we start discussing later. Hmm. So the first and the most common and simple example is the LED and optocouplers. LED is similar to conventional diode and consists of semiconductor with PN junctions. So LED operation of LED is just simply the reverse of operation of the photodiode. In photodiode, light falls on the depletion layer and creates the hole on electron pair. In this, the hole and electron pair combined in the depletion layer, and it emits light. Uh, so and so the both working are little different. In photodiode, it was the diode is connected in the reverse bias, while in LED, the diode is connected in the forward bias, and the band gap is such that the radiation, the uh, photon it emit frequency lie in the visible region. And LED is similar to conventional diode and consists of semiconductor with a p-n junctions. If it is forward bias, that is important. LED is kept in forward bias, and photodiode is kept in reverse bias. With N terminal connected to the lower potential, that means if we connect a forward bias means N terminal connected to the lower potential, and uh, P terminal is connected to the higher potential. Electrons and holes are pulled into a space charge zone, provide the voltage higher than the voltage drop of the diode. The energy that is released by the electrons dropping from the conduction band to the valence band is emitted as photon. So you must have read it in your basic electronic syllabus, how LED operate. It is a very simple device. So the first, in fact, the first program or first uh, project is to blink the LED on, whether it is microcontroller or later if you will study Raspberry Pi. Changing the duty cycle of the on versus off time proportionally change the brightness of the LED. The brightness of the LED can be modulated using pulse width modulation. We will cover this program. Uh, so if now, if LED or any other pulse width modulated device need to be galvanically separated from the control electronics, we use optocoupler. Now this is a very important device. Optocoupler is used to separate the controlling device, the operating device with the controlling device. That means the current loop of operating device uh, is decoupled with the current loop of let's say controlling device, that is our microcontroller. And how it is done? It is done using optocoupler. Basically these two loops are connected through optocoupler. Optocoupler is nothing but a integrated circuit that consists of LED and phototransistor. So we know that a transistor acts as a switch, and it enables the current to flow if there is a suitable voltage on the base layer. So in case of phototransistor, that base layer is in fact base or emitter conductor region is in fact the photodiode. That means when light from LEDs fall on this phototransistor, it starts conducting. Therefore, there is no circuit connection between these two devices. It is the light that indirectly connected to this one. In this way, both controlling loop and operating loop of current is separated, because and it is important in many devices, because in the operating devices, for example motor, uh, consume large energy, and often when we change the status of its operation, it produces some say impulsive voltage, some fluctuation which need to be mitigated. And therefore this optocoupler is very important in functioning of many devices. For example, in motor generate back EMF. Even while connecting relay with some powerful device like powerful alarm system, it generates back current. When LED is illuminated, the transistor becomes conducting and switches on device on the other side of the circuit without being electrically connected. So it is clear. The next example is of motors. Motors is one of the most important device, important invention. I mean, say invention of this our that change our whole humanity. So, because the motor is a medium in which through which electrical energy is connected to the mechanical energy. We human need mechanical energy mostly. We human live in this mechanical world. But mostly, although we have electrical functioning inside our body, but outward we simply our daily action involves mechanical work. So till the electrical energy was not converted to the mechanical energy, it was of no use. But it is invention of Faraday that harnessed this electrical energy. The motor is generally translate electrical energy to mechanical energy normally by rotating an axle in order to provide torque. In case of IoT or embedded devices, there are typically many type of, in industrial also we have many type of motors. So we will in this section will simply study the type of motors and in which application which motors is important. So that is the important to understand. Not it functioning, because if you go into functioning, it in fact is a whole course syllabus which you can see in the electrical engineering course. They come in a wide variety of types, and motor can be AC and DC motors. It is based on a static magnetic field state. So in DC motor, basically the magnetic field is static. This point we remember. The stator and one or more coils, which we also call the stator, and coil which is rotating is also called the rotor. Okay. So when it is excited by external voltage, it experiences the lowering force and starts moving. They are forced to rotate by reversing the polarity of exciting voltage synchronously. But as it rotates by 180 degree, the polarity changes. So we need to change this polarity, means to synchronize it with rotation. And we do this by using commutator. So they are forced to rotate by the reversing the polarity of exciting voltage synchronous with the rotation. The rotating part is called the rotor and the synchronous sheet is the commutator. Okay. So we have three important parts: stator, rotor and commutator. But don't go deep and into details. Just remember why we use this motor, and this is clear in this point. We can adjust the torque and speed of the motor by varying the voltage applied to the voltage. We can use pulse width modulation to control the total power delivered to the coils in order to adjust torque and the speed. turn the motor both forward and backward, we need to control polarity of the supply, voltage supply. This is done using H-breeze. So basically in this 2 point we see that a DC motor can uh, be can be operated at variable speed. So by varying the voltage, we change the speed of the DC motors, and also its direction of rotation can be changed by reversing the polarity of the supply voltage. And this is done using the H bridge. So what is this H bridge? We have IC that acts as a say H bridge. So what is this H bridge? In this diagram we can see here the H bridge. Uh, this is we can see here this is motor, and basically the H bridge is connection is like that. In one direction the positive voltage is connected, and in another directions ground is connected. So when switch A and D is connected, the left side of the motor we can see is the positive voltage, and the right side is a ground. And when this C and D is connected, then we see the motor on the right side it is positive voltage, and the left side is connected with the ground. Next is the servo motors. So servo motors is very important in industrial application. If you see the robotic arms in that is arranging, that is, for example, in automobile industry or any mechanical heavy industry, we see a long conveyor belt and various robotics arms that are placing and replacing the various component on the product. So these robotic arms need to be moved in accurate position. Uh, uh, that's why we need special motors, and this is basically the servo motors. So servo motors move and use the closed loop feedback to ensure that the positions is accurate. The movement of the initial and final position is very accurate. So servo motors refer to the motor in conjunction with the position encoder. So we have this position encoder in closed loop feedback. That is important. So basically it is a concept of control system that it reads the output positions, the feedback component, and give it to the input uh, conjunctions, and the difference between the desired positions and the output position is measured, and based on the error this motor is rotated accordingly to reduce the error, and finally it achieves the perfection. Here the motor speed is continuously adjusted to reduce the difference between the desired position and actual position. As I have pointed out just now, the motor speed is continuously adjusted as reported by the encoder. So this type of servomotor is often used in industrial applications, as I have said, in robotics arm, and required an elaborate control system using PID controller. And yes, it required a drivers, a specialized drivers in PID controller. Modest version in models, the small version of these servo motors that we will use in embedded device are basically model servo, or simply we call it servo, and it is a very small side. And here the encoder is simply a potentiometer, often encountered radio control car and planes, but also appear in robotic applications such as controlling the position or angle of a small robotic arm. Servo has a potentiometer mounted on the rotating shaft. So that is used as an encoder. Basically, this is used as an encoder. Now, next, the final type of category is a stepper motor. Stepper motors, the motion is enabled, the motion is changed in a stepwise manner. Stepper motors change the angular position of the shaft in a small discrete steps, such as counting the steps gives the position. And this is enabled by using multiple uh, poles magnet. In this diagram you can see we have 6 poles magnet, and that means divide 360 by 6 and we can say 60 degree, sorry 60 degree. So we can move a motor in a step of 60 degree. This is just a diagram. In real we have 360 to 400 monopoles. That means we can vary per degree motor. So stepper motors is also controlled. It is act in open loop. It is also used to say define move in defined rotation, and you can simply count the rotation, but it is act in open loop, not closed loop as compared to the servo motor. So open loop operation is simple and it is easy to control, and also it acts fast. No, even the servo motor is quite fast, but you have to use the proper encoder and driver, and you have to use the PID controller. In the stepper motor, we don't require these extra components. In this way, no feedback or servo mechanism is needed to achieve high repeatability, and the motor can be operated on open loop. So this is the end of the actuator and sensors uh, part of this section of this unit. In the next section, in the next lecture, we will start with the Arduino.